first of all, congratulations on being getting the job of coaching Kansas. Let's talk a little bit about your journey so far, and how you get to where you're at now.
Um, Somewhat long road, I guess. In terms of into the coaching space, I actually, when I kind of was finished up with actually competing, I actually applied for a job at the University of Tennessee. They wished to hire me, but their administration department didn't wish to do the H-1 visa or the visa that I needed at the time. I think H-1B, if I'm not mistaken, the letters and numbers. So basically, it's a work visa for a foreigner, and so it's an arduous process because there's a bunch of, I mean, the paperwork's quite long and it takes some time and also some finances. And so, excuse me, I think they tried to hire another foreigner in addition to, and they had a hard time with it. So I don't think when I came along, they didn't um, do want to go through that process again. So basically, I came. I was back at home, um, working regular, and then this opportunity came up this year in Paris. I had talked to now my future employee, and I knew him from, we went to Arkansas together. Well, when I say together, he was a coach at Arkansas when I was an athlete, and and then he's moved on and he had another head coaching job in another university, and now this one, University of Kansas. And so we got the ball rolling this summer, and that process took, so let's see, July, let's see, August, August until November to get all the paperwork done and sign off and all of that. So, but yeah, that's kind of the footnotes or the Cliff Notes version of the where I was and how I got to this point.
Yeah, coming from a jumper's background, you've been helping out a lot, coaching a lot of athletes in Bermuda, outside of Bermuda, and the like. But now that it's almost like it's full time for you, and this is what your life is going to be for a little while. How do you plan to change the way you, I guess, go about your teachings?
Um, no different now. I just basically, this is what I do as opposed to something I did on the side, and so I actually now can pour more energy and time into it. I just came back actually from a coaching symposium or clinic, not clinic because it was just um, people giving presentations on their training, their coaching methodologies, and the like. So went to a couple of those, actually quite 4 or 5 of those, and learned a few things. Not, always willing to look at things in a different light and maybe from a different angle that you didn't see it before. So now I'm all in basically. This is what I do. So I have a group of 9 people um, to coach at the moment. And then the other part of this job is obviously recruiting. So now going out to find talented athletes or young people that would be willing to come to the University of Kansas and that I can help develop to become whatever. Obviously, in my job position, obviously we want to become conference champs and NCAA champs, but also to develop them to become world champs and Olympic champs or the best version of themselves.
Now, I guess in your talks back in July and up until the time you get this, do you look at the roster and see? what you'll be working with ahead of time, or were you just saying, "Let me just wait and see if I get this job, and then I'll dabble into that"?
Yeah, no, I mean, I I just took the position. I didn't know what athletes they had here at the time. And with the transfer portal and all the rest of the stuff that's going on in college now, a lot of that moves quite quickly. And so, no, I mean, I just looked at the position to get my foot in the door and then worried about the talent pool because then that's also selling my ability to make you as a better athlete because that's that's a big part of recruiting. Yeah, you want to go somewhere, but is the coach at where you're going to help you become a better athlete at what you're doing? So that's a big part of the picture. So I wasn't too concerned about who they had. My goal is to obviously make the people who are here at the moment the best versions of themselves, which is always the goal, to maximize people's abilities and talents. And so, yeah, that was my outlook on that.
Right. How much have things changed from indoor to from when you were competing to today?
um, the premise of training has changed a bunch. I think people are trying to do less and get more, which is which is an oxymoron in this sport because track and field is about a stopwatch and a tape measure. You're not competing against somebody else. It's not a stick and ball sport, depending on how talented you match up with somebody else. So our barometers don't change. The stopwatch is the same, and the tape measure is the same for me when I was competing as they are for these young people today. So I think we have to change some mentality aspects in terms of how much work that has to be done in order to get results that some of these people desire. So they want to perform well, but I think our alignment's a little different. I don't think they will work smarter. The technology's out there, the information's out there for some of the things that I was doing back in the day. And then we might incorporate some of those things and merge them with some of the newer technologies and information that we have today, which enables us to maximize abilities and talents.
Yeah. Now you had the benefit of having when you went to University of Arkansas, you had the benefit of having world beaters to train with and compete against each day. Um, do you see that in this group, and how can you emulate some of the things that you guys done to push yourselves um, now that you're a coach?
No, that's the big component that has to be accomplished. So I gotta that's a big thing. I gotta change the culture. I have a young lady who I think's bought in, who's done well to this point, and she might be my person to pop it off in terms of. I think she could go pretty far in terms of getting, and she's a freshman and do well in performance wise. And I have a few other people in my group, but trying to get everybody to buy in and to do the things that I think they need to do, and ultimately become their best versions of themselves, which hopefully can be point scorers at conference and national level. So it's going to take same thing. I mean, I'm new in the seat. Try to recruit some very talented, hardworking athletes who buy who buy in. Excuse me, who buy in, and because that's what you need somebody who's talented, who's going to work. And then when everybody else sees the results, then they go like, "Oh man, we train with this person every day, work," and then turn around and see the performance. It's like, "Oh man, they're jumping, they're winning conference or they're winning nationals." Now I can do that because you're seeing it happen in front of you. then you get more people to buy in, because that's all it was. I mean, I jumped into a situation where they would win conference and win nationals and win the team title just about every year. That's a plug and play. You just follow what's going on in front of you. Okay, this I when I went to Arkansas, Mike Conley was the world indoor champ. He had an Olympic medal, and he performed. His performances were things that I would desire to get to. It's simple. Copy what he's doing every day. Try to get as close to him as, or try to beat him in practice ultimately every day. And so once you start to get people to buy in like that, you get that mentality. Then then you can create a group that's gonna be in the mix day in and day out.
Mm. Now, when you were doing your coaching, especially in Bermuda, you were using a lot of video from your phone and stuff. Now that you're on a campus per se, you got a lot more um, technology at your disposal. How do you plan to change the way you deliver that message using what's available to you more in a better setting?
Yeah, I mean, it's not so technology is only a measuring stick to measure what I'm already seeing or rate. Or the other benefit to it is that, as opposed to me explaining to the athlete, they can see it. So we have um, student assistants, people who come and, like, if I need somebody to video, we have an iPad that they'll video practice while I just coach. And then if we need to watch a jump or watch technique, we can go back and watch it. And I usually have files, and I try to organize each athlete with all their jumps in their file. And then I usually try to send it to them personally to their individual phones, so they have a file for themselves on the technique and the things. And then usually on occasions, I will also edit comments to the bottom of their video, like, hey, this is what you got to focus on, need to do X, need to work on this or work on that. So that's that. At the moment, that's the system I have set up or got going. So it's not much different. I just have another set of hands that can assist me in some certain times where I'm just focusing on what I'm seeing and somebody else is videoing, and then we could always go back to watch the video and analyze it and break down the fact that, okay, this is what we're working on and this is what we need to get better. And so, but yeah, they have I think we don't, we were just looking at purchasing some editing software for biomechanics, to put athletes videos into a biomechanical software that will break down and give you data. And like I said, all it is a measuring stick, because if you have an athlete doing particular thing and then they have a great performance, you could go back and compare, like, what did we do better, how much more speed are we bringing to the board, as opposed to just visual, like, okay, yeah, I know that was, you're faster, but how much faster? So now you just have numbers to add to it. And then, okay, we're further, but where are we gaining our performance? Is it in the first phase, second phase, in our jump phase, or where the performance benefits are? And so, yeah, it's just like I said, it's a way of putting numbers to what you're visually seeing.
Mm, mm. No, you're quite high energy. Your personality and just the way you when you're around the sport. How do you plan to motivate someone that's got the ability but just is not that into expressing themselves?
Yeah, that's part of the sport, trying to figure out people's personalities and what buttons to push to get them to be more motivated and more into it. And so, yeah, that's been a big part, because you play the, how do I engage this person to get them to be more to bring out the best of themselves, basically. So yeah, I mean, and then ultimately, hopefully, that my positive energy and my energy rubs off, because that's what I attempt to do. Most days I come in there and I'm like, come on, guys, this is practice. This is not calculus class. You don't have to show up to just, you know what I mean? And so and so that's part of the whole process of trying to get them to understand um that we got to get going, motivated to come out here to perform to the best of our ability.
Sure. Now, we all see it in professional world, even in amateur world. When a new coach comes in, changes the athlete just a little bit to tweak them to help them to get better. There's a little digression there, where they come back just a little bit before they go forward. Keeping and helping the athlete to understand that we have to digress a little first to tweak what was needed to make you go even further. How does that work into your coaching abilities?
Yeah, I mean, that process is happening, and so my whole mantra basically is to try to get them to understand the mechanics behind what they're doing. And this is the thing that I explained to them, which is sadly, because a lot of these people have had several coaches in the past several years, which is not a good idea, not the best successful model to be successful as an athlete. And so the thing that I impart with them is, I says, this is the deal. Technical stuff that I teach you should transfer no matter who is here, because the mechanical components don't change. If you execute technically correctly, no matter who's coaching you and what the philosophies are, you still have to execute technically the basic mechanics. Everybody gets caught up in all the peripheral frill stuff, but the basic nuts and bolts is still the basic nuts and bolts. And if you don't do that well, no matter what else you're doing, you're giving away stuff. And so that's the thing I push more than anything, is the fact that we have to execute the basic mechanics well. And I says the basic mechanics, once you understand and learn, and that's the thing I go over all the time, is explain to them why we get in what positions and the things that they need to focus on technically. I says, no matter if I'm here or Joe Blow or whoever else, you still need to do this well. And so that's the thing that I drive. And then the fitness component, how you get people in shape, that's where you have the artistry of it, basically. Some people do things a lot differently than others. Old school pyramidization in terms of volume work and base work, and then you have the new school that believes to do speed work from day one, so they're always working on sprinting stuff. But so that's the difference in terms of how do you get athletes in shape. But the mechanics of the basic mechanics of the whole equation shouldn't change.
Mm, all right. Well, I know you have competition right after the new year with the indoor season right upon you. I want to wish you all the best, and then obviously outdoors right behind that. So you're gonna be busy as well as trying to recruit, because everybody wants the potentially the next big athlete to